Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Level Up Building a Buyer Business Within a Business, with your MAPS coach, Jennifer Davis. Please note this webinar is being recorded and you will automatically receive the webinar recording. If you have questions for your coach, please type them into the questions box located in your webinar taskbar. Following the webinar, if you have any questions about today's call or coaching programs, please email us at fasttrack@kw.com. That's fasttrack@kw.com. That's all for me. Jen, take it away.
Thanks, Holly. Good morning, everybody. I am super excited to get this class launched and get started with everybody. Just like Holly mentioned, if you have any questions for me all along the way, just type those in your question box. And if it's something I think is a good time to stop and answer, I will answer it then. Otherwise, we'll wait to the end and try and catch all those questions. So first of all, thank you for joining me today. I am, like I said, excited to get started. My name is Jen Davis. I am the lead buyer specialist for Holt Homes Group out of Springfield, Missouri, and we're going to just jump right in. So this is a little bit about what the program is going to be. On your screen, it has kind of the outline of what our goal is. So our goal is to help you think big enough to build a team within a team. Or if you're a mega agent, how do you create the opportunity for somebody within your world to build that team? How do you kind of pave the way so that they've got the ability to start bringing people into their world and building that team? So what we're going to learn over the 5-week class is we're going to learn how to develop leaders within your organization. That is going to be kind of twofold. How does it look for the person that is the rainmaker or the mega agent of the team? What does it look like for that person that's actually going to build the team? And how do the two work together? We're also going to talk a lot about streamlining the buy-side process. So we're going to try and build in efficiencies for you to use with your buyers. We're going to talk a lot about scripting, setting expectations, all the while still increasing production. So we're going to focus very heavily on what those expectations look like so that you can have a great quality of life and still have a massive buyer business. We're going to talk a lot about leveraging with people. What does that look like? How do you hire people? When you're hiring them, what are you looking for within that person, whether it is a empire builder or an empire protector? We're going to talk about what periods of time during your business that you should add those pieces of leverage. We're going to talk a lot about, in the last week, finding, hiring, and keeping talented showing agents. Showing agents typically have a history of being a high turnover position, and we're going to talk a lot about how do we prevent that? How do we safeguard your business so that when you're training these great people within your organization that you can also keep them? We're also going to talk a lot about utilizing the showing agent model. I know that that's a hot topic right now. We have been able to build a really strong buy-side business, including utilizing showing agents. And what is a showing agent? What is a showing agent not? What are their responsibilities? And how do they win within the team? So if you would like to sign up for the class and you haven't already, you can go to mapscoaching.com and the link will be there. So the program details, we launch next week. We're going to launch, it'll be Mondays at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. It'll be 5 weeks, and we are really looking forward to helping you build a massive buyer business. So a little bit about me, for those of you that don't know me, again, my name is Jen Davis. I am with Holt Homes Group out of Springfield, Missouri. Just as a little bit of background, our average sales price is $175,000. So not a huge average sales price. We certainly wish that were higher. So when we talk about showing agents and adding ISAs or adding executive assistants, we have had to be very, very careful with profitability. With a very low average sales price, you have to make sure that you are still hitting the bottom line that you need to hit. So this is just a little bit about me that's on your screen. I joined the team in 2013 as Dan's buyer's agent. The goal that year was to sell 50 homes, and previously I had sold 16. So having someone that really sat down with me to talk about building out a business plan. You know, Dan and I sat down, had a conversation, and he was really the first person that looked at this role as an empire builder. So there, up until this point in my career as a buyer's agent at another company, it appeared to be a less than role. And Dan was able to sit down with me and show me, okay, here is what this looks like now, and here's what it can look like in the future. And so when we go through this, this was really the path of opportunity that I had. And I do believe that if it works in my market, at the average sales price that we have with the number of homes that are sold per year, it really and truly can work in any market. There may be a handful of tweaks based on price point for what that compensation looks like, and you should be able to make those minor adjustments so that it works for you and for your mega agent. So in 2014, the goal was to close 65 units on the buy side, and I actually closed 72. At that time, I really had only leverage with admin support. There was one full-time assistant that worked for both Dan and I, which mainly meant that she worked for Dan and kind of fit in my things as I needed them. And we had one part-time assistant. That part-time assistant was really my first piece of leverage, where she was able to start handling my contract to close, scheduling some showings, and starting to build out that system for client care. 2015, we added some additional leverage, and this was a huge year. The two pieces of leverage that were game changers this year, we added a director of lead generation. Clearly at that time, her title wasn't director of lead generation. She was hired to really handle outbound prospecting for listings. And what ended up happening is she was a highly talented individual and came to me and asked if there would be some opportunity for her on the buy side. And so we really started utilizing her on the buy side to handle some lead conversion issues. So I was still doing lead generation, and some of the follow-up systems were starting to fall apart. We were starting to break some systems at that point. So we had our ISA at that point that was able to start handling some of our sign calls, start handling some of the follow-up from internet leads that were coming in. And at the same time, I hired a MAPS coach. And when I hired a MAPS coach, it was a really big deal. I had resisted it for quite some time, and Dan had gotten to the point where he was concerned that he could no longer coach me. I had taken the buy side level to a level that he had never himself been at. So when I hired a MAPS coach, my coach was able to really shine a flashlight into all corners of my business so that we could get to a point where we could start making some adjustments, start building in those efficiencies, and start duplicating really documenting some of our systems so that we could start duplicating them. So that year the goal was 90, and I actually closed 110 units, and that was prior to any showing agent leverage. So I was handling the showings, I was handling the negotiations, all the fun stuff that goes along with buyers. And so as you kind of follow along, when we talk about each of these years, this will go in line with the 5 different levels that we're going to talk about throughout the next 5-week course. So we'll start unpacking more of what those efficiencies were that we built in so that you can implement those in your business. In the 4th year that I was on the team, we did decide that we needed to add showing agents. I was the glass ceiling. So at 110 units, there was no additional opportunity for our lead generation team to book any more appointments. And therefore, I was going to start impacting their bottom line in a negative way. So we added showing agents, the first one in January of that year, and the second one halfway through the year. Basically, what had happened was after the first one was added, we started really being able to dive into lead gen and build in more appointments. And so then I was back in appointments and was struggling to keep up really with negotiations. So we added that second one halfway through the year. The goal that year for the buy side was 160 units. We closed 182, and that was with myself and 2 showing agents. The next year in 2017, we had those same 2 showing agents. I did add an executive assistant that was able to start building out better client communications, strengthening those relationships, and we jumped up from the 182 and we ended up closing 223 units on the buy side. So it was really starting to build out those efficiencies in what the passes looked like. How did I pass to the showing agent? How did they pass back? And then wherein lies, the admin support staff. And then last year, we swapped out one showing agent for another. We added a nights and weekends ISA and an additional OSA on the listing side, which always helps to drive business. In 2018, I really and truly was almost all the way out of production. I was at that point just leading the buy side. So our numbers ended up at 220 units, and that was predominantly those showing agents. I think I see some questions maybe starting to come in, so we'll hit those at the end. So I figured for our launch, clearly we're wanting everybody to get signed up for the class if this is a topic that interests you. And the showing agent model is the hot topic right now. So what I thought I'd do today is kind of briefly go over what the showing agent model looks like. And that way, if it's something that is interesting to you, you can go to maps.com or mapscoaching.com to get signed up. So what is a showing agent model? What is a showing agent there for? So in my opinion, a showing agent is responsible for showing properties to qualified buyers and getting them to the point of writing an offer. It is a true partnership with the lead buyer specialist. And what we're doing is we're trying to find that perfect property for the buyer. And it is not, just like I said, the buyer agent to the mega agent is not a less-than role. A showing agent to a buyer specialist is not a less-than role. It is a true partnership. Some people call it the showing partner model. Some people call it a showing assistant model. I don't love the showing assistant model because I've never seen either of my showing agents as an assistant. They're experts in the field. You could call them a field agent. So the showing agent, they do work in partnership with the lead buyer specialist and making sure that we find the best possible property at the best possible price. So the showing agent is a lead nurturer, not a lead generator. The way that we have it set up is we are making sure that they are in their top 20% of activities, and their top 20% of activities is getting people to the point of writing a contract. The showing agent is an expert in the field. They are not a door opener. So they are so much more than just opening a door for you. If they are a true partner in your business, what they can do is they can start to leverage the relationship part of the business. They can build confidence quickly with your clients. They can ensure that they're getting timely information when they're in, either a multiple offer situation or, if it's a market that's moving very quickly. So your showing agent is an extension of you. The training for them has to be a top priority. What that means is it is not just someone, when we say it's not just a door opener, you're not utilizing them here and there. It is a true partnership, and you're making sure that they know as much as you know. That way the client is getting the same care, whether it's from the consultation or during the showing, from yourself and your showing agent. What typically happens is once you have a showing agent, some of the wins that you used to have as a buyer's agent of, having the immediate feedback per house, that starts to go away a little bit. And so in order for you to have your wins, you have to be at a position in your business that the goal of the showing agent becomes really honestly your measure of success. So who does the showing model, or who does the showing agent model work for? Well, the showing agent model works for people that have mastered their own personal productivity habits. These are things that we are going to go through really in weeks 1, 2, and 3 to get us to the point of adding a showing agent. So it's somebody that has high productivity, that has great habits, and that is really building a business as a business. They're thinking like a business person, not like a real estate agent. It's an agent who is committed to helping others succeed. So this is somebody that, like we talked about, on the last slide, it's somebody that is as focused on helping other people hit their goals and understanding that if they hit their goal, that you will hit yours. It's an agent that has a great admin support in place. If you add a showing agent before you have great admin support, you will become the admin. So if you have a showing agent that is going out and showing properties and you don't have a great support staff in place to handle getting the showing set or pulling disclosures or utilities or those types of things, and the showing agent is moving from appointment to appointment, very quickly that becomes your responsibility. And that is not a dollar producing activity for you. So as you're adding leverage, making sure that the time on task of where you're focusing your energy is going to increase the business, and quite frankly, making sure that you're still in dollar producing activities. So a showing agent model, it does work for an agent that's committed to mastery. What I have found is every time you bring someone into your organization and you start to train them and lead them, you see within them what they've learned from you. And that can be good or bad. You get to see your good habits and you get to see maybe some of your shortcomings. And so what you have to do is be very self-aware while you're doing the training. When you see some of those shortcomings highlighted, let's embrace that. Let's look at that as feedback to you to make sure that you're still on your way towards mastery. So what makes a great showing agent? Who do we hire? If a showing agent is an extension of you, you've got to find someone that is someone you are 100% comfortable with being the leverage for the piece of your business that is the relationship. So it's got to be someone that can connect with people very quickly, and it has to be someone that you actually like. If you're going to spend the amount of time that it takes to train them in a very positive and a very good way, it has to be someone that you feel very comfortable with and someone you like, so that your clients can feel that same relationship from that person. The showing agent will become your main client. So this is the person that you're going to every day show up for. You've got to make sure, okay, who do I have to be today so that this showing agent can win? How do I need to pour into them so that they can then pour into our clients? The characteristics that I look for when hiring a showing agent is somebody that's coachable. It's somebody that's open, hungry, they have a willingness to learn, and they have a high sense of urgency. Those are the things that are the hardest to change if someone doesn't already have that. You need someone that buys into your vision and will follow your systems and models. And just as a side note, we're going to focus a lot about what that vision looks like and how do you build that vision. You actually have to have a very clear vision and a very clear business plan in order to make it available for people to buy into. You have to focus on the income opportunity rather than the commission splits. That's actually why I've always hired someone from outside of industry. I have had a ton of success with showing agents that I have brought in from totally different backgrounds. They do not have a preconceived idea of what they should get paid or what a commission split should be. So why focus on the showing agent model? Well, there are lots of reasons. One of them, honestly, is in an effort to keep you in your 20% and in an effort to keep them in their 20%. You will have the highest productivity if you are strategically focused on a few items. I feel like that we've all probably on this call read this book called The One Thing, which is the same principle. The narrower your focus on something, the higher the productivity will be. So it's going to allow you for a higher level of efficiency because it's going to keep you in your 20% and your showing agent in their 20%. Along the way, those areas of focus may narrow even further, and you may go from a 20% focus to 15% to 10% in an effort to get through a ceiling. The model allows you to create bigger systems for productivity and efficiency, and it also allows you to build a massive buyer pipeline. So what this looks like is if you've got 2 showing agents or a showing agent and they're focused on converting a client at a super high level in the field, and now you have that time back from showings, then you have the ability to start increasing what that pipeline of 30-day, 60-day, 90-day buyers looks like, as long as you are reinvesting your time into those dollar-producing activities. It also allows you to maximize what your personal productivity level is and start creating success through others, truly building a team within a team. So the program is going to, again, launch next Monday. It is going to be 5 weeks. We'll start at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. The calls will typically be an hour long. We'll have 50 minutes of content and about 10 minutes for question and answers. You will have a workbook to follow along with. There will be homework each week that we can kind of go through so that you can establish your path to mastery a little bit faster. I will start taking questions now if you guys have any. It looks like there's a question on how do you get a copy of the slideshow. I think what they're going to do is send out a recording of the call at the end of this call once we wrap up. So you should have that in your inbox either later today or tomorrow. So are there any other questions? Anybody that's on the call that has a question? So what we'll do is we'll wrap up a few minutes early. The recording will be available that Holly will send out. And I am super excited to get started next week. And I look forward to hopefully having maybe a little more interaction on some of the calls with some additional questions. And I will talk with all of you next week. Have a great week. Good luck, and we'll talk soon.